Well, thanks, Power Connectors. My name is Gary Yenser. I'm with Speedpro Imaging. We specialize in great big graphics, as indicated by my landing page on my website, which we're going to spend a little time on here. And I've been with BNI a year and a half. I spent 30 years in the IT industry, which is really a service-driven industry, which resulted in me seeking out a company that mirrored the same, and Speedpro was one of those, and I'll talk about that. I'm a proud father of two boys, 14 and 11, and they're both soccer players, and they both won their soccer championships last weekend, so it's a good week in Mudville. So, to get things kick-started a little bit, I'm gonna stick with the education mode that a lot of our speakers have had over the last several presentations, and I'm going to start with a video that is on our website.
Speedpro Imaging is your premier partner for all your large format graphics needs. If you're looking for wall murals, floor graphics, window graphics, trade show displays, vehicle wraps, or event graphics, we do it all, on time and on budget. Speedpro Imaging understands the needs of today's fast-paced business. Our goal is not only to meet strict deadlines and high standards, but to also exceed your expectations with superior printing technology and extreme resolution graphics, done right the first time. Our state-of-the-art printers produce gorgeous photorealistic images that will demand attention regardless of where they're used. Floors, walls, windows, even larger-than-life graphics on a fleet of vehicles. The applications are endless, and no project is too large or too complicated. With advanced color matching technology, our nationwide network of over 120 studios ensures consistent, high-quality solutions from coast to coast. Whichever Speedpro Imaging studio you work with, we guarantee the same standard of excellence in printing, timeliness, and customer service. And our relationship with big brand names speaks for itself. With over 20 years of experience, Speedpro Imaging has the capacity and professionalism to handle any job, whether you have one location, a nationwide chain, or dozens of clients that need graphic solutions. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff can assist you finding the best creative solution for your specific needs and budget. Contact us today for a consultation or quote.
Many of you who have been out to the studio have seen a lot of those pieces hanging on the walls there. So in fact, the imagery and the art that you see in here, we print. The printer device that you saw on that website is representative totally of what we have in the studio. So everything we're talking about there is something that we can execute on and we can produce. Now, there's a couple of messages I wanted to communicate to you there. A lot of things flashed across the screen. So when you talk about the large format graphics space, you can quickly get overwhelmed by what are the types of things that you can do. And how you as a provider handle that can be very discriminating, and that's where we like to try and compete. Okay, so the messaging here on quality and service is very, very profound and very, very real. And what I'm going to use is some of the frequently asked questions on our website. And I'm going to invite all of you to go out there because it's very educational and it can talk about a lot of the things that illustrate my point. So I just want to spend the balance of the time going through some of these questions here in terms of large format terminology, and I'm hopeful that that'll help you identify with some of the things that I reflect on from week to week and better position you to represent it out there in your referral community. So first of all, what is large format printing? Okay, I promise you I'm not going to read every one of these words here. Okay, but it talks about starting where most print shops leave off. I very much am not necessarily a competitor to a lot of the printers you may run into. I will pick up where a commercial offset printer that does all your letterhead, your stock, your brochures, your business cards, all those sorts of things. I will extend their capacity and portfolio, and in fact, we as a business are structured to go out and interact with those folks and help them generate more revenues. Now the reason that's good for me as a provider to them is they're interacting a lot with those clients. So because they're having the client relationship responsibility, which I'm quite happy for them to have and will be an unseen hand extending their capability, they're getting the art and they're providing me that art in a print ready format so that I can get it in my queue, do the pre-press, and run it. Okay, there's efficiencies that devolve to me because of that. So I'm quite happy to do business that way. Does that make sense? So I can provide them a cost proposition that allows them to embrace that model. What is media? It's the material that your graphics printed on. And I got to tell you, the media technology over the years has really progressed. There are a myriad number of vinyls that you can use to specifically hit a requirement. That can be a function of where it's going to be located, how long it's going to be used, what is the finish that they want on it, what is the receptiveness of a wall that something's going to be applied to. I just had a situation where the walls were repainted with a paint that inhibits adhesion of some vinyls. So that's where I was last week, trying to remediate and say, okay, where do I go now? So we have testing methodologies and things that we can do to establish that. But you need a partner, you need a supplier, you need someone who can help you sort through that so that you get something that's fit for purpose. And that's something that we at Speedpro really focus on, fit for purpose. We don't want to oversell you and have you spend money that you don't need to spend based on how you want to use it, okay? And we can be a resource to you if you're looking to economize and make sure that you don't get undersold. And I don't want to buy your business just because I can give you an answer that's cheaper and less expensive, but that's going to fail you. That's not going to be serviceable to you, and it's certainly not going to be a positive reflection on me. I'm going to go through some of the questions on laminating. We finished things. Another example of the complexity of the environment is there's all kinds of substrates. That's what you mount your graphic on. It could be this wall. Everybody familiar with coroplast signs? Okay, foam core, ultra board, polymetal, styrene. They're all different functions, and they fit different needs based on survivability and where you're going to be putting things. We, Speedpro, I can help people sort through all that stuff. Okay? And that's an area where we really, I think we add a value proposition. We put a lot of energy into that, and ensure that, that people get something that's going to meet their needs. Okay. We use eco-solvent inks, so we're a bit more environmentally friendly. But where this gets into some things is, you may hear people refer to UV inks. That generally gets associated with flatbed technology, which a flatbed is something where a big printer where you can run a substrate right through and print directly on it. And my capability is EcoSol, where I run the vinyls through and then I laminate or press it onto the substrate board. Without being biased one way or another, they both have roles to play in the portfolio of business out there. But the EcoSolve inks may tend to be a bit more rich in terms of the resolution and the color. Okay? But if you don't need that and you're just doing like you want 1,000 coroplast signs, you're probably going to want a really good price point on that and go to somebody who can just run it through the flatbed and press it on there. It's faster and cheaper and perfectly serviceable for that requirement. I will do smaller runs, okay, in terms of coroplast signs and things like that, and then I can source those through my system, or I will refer them, again, back to the start, to another printer. So one of the things that you can talk to is look for when people are saying, hey, I've had a really bad experience with my graphics provider or my sign provider, and they're looking for an alternative. We put a focus on that and on that service, and I've had people come to me in the last 3 weeks where I've referred 2 people away from me to get them a better match for what they're looking for. Okay, so this is all part of, we were having some good humor earlier with the great big graphics, and you saw the metal stamp there at the beginning, but we just rebranded, we just relaunched our web presence. There's a lot more resources out here in terms of these frequently asked questions and things that kind of are educational to somebody. So if you've got some associates or business colleagues that may benefit from this sort of thing, direct them to my website. It's a lot more content rich than it was 3 months ago, and we're really excited about where we're headed. And remember, as a company, we focus on the quality differentiator. We like the high resolution space. We focus on the service, and we focus on being fit for purpose. We'll sell you what you need, and we'll best fit your requirements. So with that, I'll entertain any questions. Okay?
You mentioned the adhesives on the walls, and so like, let's say I got one and I got the wrong adhesive. Is there going to be something that stick on there and just falls right off immediately, or is it just kind of bubble and like the edges kind of taper up a little bit?
It can take a little bit of time. I mean, unless it's really, really weak, you know, you may see some droopiness right away.
Yeah.
But a lot of, we had a wall mural that we put in where they had used zero VOC paints, which is a volatile organic compound. So you can make an inference there about environmental friendliness and sustainability. Again, that takes certain attributes and creates what is called a low energy surface, so it doesn't want to hold it. And then when you laminate your vinyl and you put it in, there's weight on that and it may droop a little bit over a couple of weeks' time.
Okay.
And in fact, we had an experience with that which we remediated promptly. But we had a graphic that was up nice for 2 weeks. So what we do now as a matter of form is we have a wall test kit where we can go in with certain different vinyl test strips and work the surface to make sure and evaluate the adhesiveness of, the receptivity, if you will, the energy of the surface, so that we can be confident that the media we select is going to last. Not a good situation is to put in a beautiful graphic that somebody's all excited about and then have it fall off. All right. In 2 years, I've had that happen twice. Once a week after we started, a second time after a surface was repainted. So.
The obvious things to think about with you are like somebody that has a big truck or the Redbird Stadium or something like that. What are some of the not so obvious kind of opportunities that somebody like me or Shane or somebody should be listening for that would be a fit for you?
Well, I would suggest, we've had some recent success with photographers, all right, and they fit into that broader category of people who create the imagery. So when you look at a truck or something, you're generally thinking of somebody having the purchaser, right, the consumer who's buying it. One of those things we do is, and John and I have talked about this from time to time, how we share a focus on graphics designers, marketing creative firms, photographers fit in that, event planners, things like that that are looking to enable concepts for their clients that images are a part of. So they're a very key business partner to me because I can complement what they do. And if you think back earlier to what I was talking about, where they create that content and send it to me, is generally of a much higher quality than something somebody might have just found on the internet and sent over. So I'm loving dealing with people like that because I'm getting high quality images that I can then reproduce and bring to life what they've created. And then their client's going to be happy. So you've got the consumer and the buyer side, but then you've got a provider side that I can stub in and complement and enable. Anything else? Okay, I would urge you to go visit the website. There's a ton more content there, but that was the first part to kind of get you into some of the terminologies and kind of maybe understand a little bit more how we're trying to position ourselves to discriminate in the marketplace.
What's that web address?
Speedpro, MemphisEast.com. Okay, thank you.